I wish I were standing up here to tell you how to make money in cryptocurrencies from $1 to $13 million. Unfortunately, I don't think I can do that. But maybe I can share with you some insights so that we don't all lose money. And I remember I was looking at it. Bitcoin wasn't backed by anything. It wasn't paying interests or dividends. And it wasn't even legal tender anywhere. So as an investor, I can't analyze its fundamentals. I cannot have a reliable approach to valuation. I didn't want to touch Bitcoin, let alone advise any of my clients to do so. Obviously, things changed, and everything changed when I started looking at digital assets, when I started understanding the technology behind it, and when I realized that it has a role to play in the modern economy. Now, what are digital assets? Okay, I talk about digital assets. Cryptocurrencies are just one type of digital asset. And Bitcoin is one type of cryptocurrency. But what are they? I think, like money, I cannot just be sending a copy. If I send Nix 1 million pesos, it's very important that I no longer have the 1 million pesos. This is what digital assets solve through blockchain technology. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin. How do we value Bitcoin? Well, if you look at it as a commodity, it's hard to do so. You can't use it for anything other than just a spot on a ledger. If you look at it as a security, how do you value it? There are no cash flows. So we start our valuation by approaching it as a currency. All the currencies in the world today, the US dollar, the British pound, the euro, the Philippine peso, all have a use component. That's the fundamental value of a currency. Currencies are instrumental goods, meaning their value comes from all the real goods and services that you can exchange it for. So, in a way, if, for example, in the case of the Philippine peso, if I have 1 million pesos, I should be able to exchange it for 1 million pesos worth of goods and services in the Republic of the Philippines. If you take the aggregate value of all the pesos in the world, theoretically, I should be able to buy all the goods and services available in the Philippines. Now, if you look at Bitcoin, it's the exact same thing. Bitcoin is valuable because it's being used, because it's powering remittances, because merchants are using Bitcoin to settle transactions between importers and exporters, and also as e-commerce payment options for customers. I think my PowerPoint is here. You can buy in the Philippines, and the speculative component is whatever else that you can buy in the future. Let's say the economy is growing. If the economy is growing, then it's more likely that you'll be able to buy more with your pesos, so the peso also gains in value. Now, for Bitcoin, here are the underlying uses. But obviously, a lot of the price surges that we saw over the past several years were due to the speculative component. As more and more people started using Bitcoin, more people begin to use Bitcoin. It's a network effect. So the expected use of Bitcoin creeped up, and up until we had more than a 1,000% rise in just a year alone. Now let's look at comparables. We always use comparables as a means of valuation. Now let's compare Bitcoin, traditional fiat currency, and gold, and see whether Bitcoin has attributes that make for a good medium of exchange. Security guards 24/7. It's very difficult to store gold. Fungible, fiat is fungible, Bitcoin is fungible. Gold might not be, because gold has different qualities. Sometimes it's not as pure, etc. And now we get to the meat. Legal tender. This is what His Honorable Governor earlier was referring to as the main weakness of cryptocurrencies. Yes, it's not legal tender. And that scares a lot of people, because a lot of times we equate the value of a currency with legal tender. that if it's not legal tender, it's useless. But actually the truth is probably deeper than that. What Bitcoin lacks in legal tender status or local enforceability, it makes up for in global acceptance. What am I saying? Last year, China decided to shut down all the cryptocurrency exchanges. And everyone thought that, okay, it's done. Right? Bitcoin will crash. But it only declined slightly and even surged even more after that. The reason behind it is that it proves that Bitcoin is resilient. It's not dependent on any one jurisdiction. If all of a sudden an industry or a country crashes, if a country crashes, other countries who use Bitcoin will be able to support the price levels. So now, the big question, should we invest in digital assets? And the answer, I've learned this through all my years of schooling. This is how you answer every investment question. It depends. Bitcoin is a globally accessible instrument, whereas others, you might not be able to have participated in the NASDAQ, Japanese stocks, for one reason or another. You were not able to buy US houses. But Bitcoin is accessible to everyone. And up here, the chart on the right, these are the best performing equities markets in 2017. And beside it, these are the top cryptocurrencies by market value. Obviously, there are more high-performing cryptocurrencies, but let's stick to the top in terms of market cap. And as you can see, the discrepancy is enormous. The risks are also enormous. And the reason for that, or if you can look at the right-hand side of the chart, these are the basic risks that we face when investing in cryptocurrencies that you do not face when you're investing in traditional assets. Number one, inadequate due diligence. Why? Because there are no investment banks. There are no investment advisors. There are no research analysts. So a prospective investor in digital assets must do all of these himself. If they said that they're dealing with, even if it's regulated, it's very hard to enforce regulations. Scams are everywhere. It has existed even before the stock market, the New York Stock Exchange came to be. You would have brokers walking door to door selling securities of companies. Number three, AML and CFT risks. I don't want my hard-earned money to be associated with money laundering. I don't want it to be used to fund the Abu Sayyaf or any other terrorist group. And historically, Bitcoin has had an ill-gotten, and you have now a lot of crypto-based remittance companies that use cryptocurrencies to power the remittance. It's cheaper, but more importantly, it's faster. An OFW can go to a shop at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, instruct the remitter to send money, and within minutes it can reach the beneficiary, as opposed to traditional methods where it can take days. Another interesting use is in e-commerce payments or even brick-and-mortar payments. In Japan and Korea, stores accept Bitcoin in addition to credit cards and cash. And a lot of people are curious as to why they even thought of that. Well, if you're a retailer, and if you accept credit card payments, off the top, you already lose up to 2%. Interchange fee and card carrier fees. So, if you lose 2.5% just because you're using a cashless payment method, if you switch to Bitcoin, it's almost free. So all of a sudden, your 5% net profit margin increases by 50%. That's just too much for a retailer to ignore. Also, importers and exporters, particularly in this day and age, we need to be able to make payments instantly, and we need to be able to make payments sometimes without having to go through the cycles, the clearing cycles of banks. So all of that is contributing to the use of Bitcoin and also other cryptocurrencies that may have better transmitting qualities than just Bitcoin. Next question. Does it facilitate money laundering? Now, historically, Bitcoin has been associated with a lot of bad actors because people saw it as a way to transfer value without the eye of regulators or law enforcement agencies. But actually, if you study the blockchain, if you study the technology, you might come to realize that the opposite is true. If we regulate exchanges globally, we might be able to eliminate money laundering altogether. Now, how can we do that? Let's say I am a bad actor. Wait, wag na lang ako. Let's say person A is a bad actor, and he sends illicit bitcoins to person B. Person B now wants to, buy something at 7-Eleven. So he has to convert bitcoins to Philippine peso. Person B goes into the exchange, undergoes KYC procedures because it's a regulated exchange, and now the exchange is able to tie the wallet address to a specific person. And so if we ever in the future discover that person B is actually a criminal, we will be able to find person A, find the wallet of person A, the wallet of the one who sent bitcoins to person A, all the way through the blockchain up to its source. Which is a complete bearer instrument. Last question. Are digital assets safe or unsafe because of scams? Well, there have been plenty of hacks in the past. And all of those hacks have a very common cause, and that is unsecured wallets. So most of the hacks take place because there are two kinds of wallets. Broadly speaking, there are two kinds of wallets. Online and offline. I know that there are two technologists in the room where eyeing me with such annoyance that I'm simplifying it to just two kinds. But online wallets are wallets that are exposed to the internet, and offline wallets are wallets that are not. So if an exchange keeps bitcoins in an online wallet, it's exposed to hackers. It's on the internet. The website or the page can be attacked, the private keys can get stolen, and the bitcoins or the other digital assets can be transferred. So since 2014, when the biggest hacks occurred, virtual currency or cryptocurrency exchanges have become more sophisticated. Cryptocurrencies today, digital asset exchanges today, now use a hot and cold wallet structure. So most of the assets are actually stored offline, and only the amount necessary to settle transactions are kept in hot wallets or online wallets. Now, what about the scams? So I mentioned earlier that developing centralized markets are key to advancing the digital asset space. And that is very true. If we have a regulated centralized market for digital assets, you can have a sole counterparty to all trades. You don't have to rely on the shady dealer that your brother-in-law's cousin referred to you. You deposit money through your bank account and you never see any Bitcoin. You won't have to rely on them. You also won't have to rely on dealers. A lot of the players in cryptocurrency in the Philippines today are actually dealers. They quote you a buy price or a bid price and an offer price. And the market has has to surrender to those prices. A centralized exchange can change all of that. Market participants will no longer have to trade on dealer spreads. They will be able to buy or sell at the best prices available in the market. Lastly, centralized markets are also much easier to regulate because it will be the sole on-ramp and off-ramp into digital assets. Centralized markets can act as your AML agent, your KYC agent. They can also enforce foreign ownership restrictions if such restrictions were ever to come about. They can also, maybe not many people will like it, but they can also make everything transparent to tax authorities. No more layers of intermediaries. An exchange can deal directly with the beneficial owner. Now, clearly, if we regulate the space, if we have these market infrastructures in place, Filipinos and other countries who need to leapfrog decades of development will be able to benefit from blockchain technology and the digital assets that we're able to enjoy as a result. Thank you.